Guys, welcome to My Guy Reviews review of Stephen King's It, the 2017 motion picture. Obviously, we've had the book out since the 80s. There's been a miniseries that was split into two parts. That's already happened. It's come and gone and highly successful. Chapter 1 was viewed by like 30 million plus people. Chapter 2 also had huge ratings. So that was highly successful. It was a great miniseries. This is now a modern take-in. This is one of Stephen King's most beloved books, similar to Dark Towers that came out this year. And Dark Towers came out, and for some reason, they shortened the runtime. Didn't quite feel like a complete kind of film. Felt like there could be some potential there. And they also had a very small budget for a big sci-fi blockbuster summer tentpole. They didn't have that for some reason. They shrunk it all, and they shrunk the size of it, and it's crazy. And in this instance, they've gone the opposite. They've given the guys about $35 to $40 million dollar budget for Chapter 1. If you put the two together, this is an 80 million, 90 million, nearly 100 million film. Chapter 1 and 2 put together, like Dark Towers was 60 or 70 million. It's crazy, but Warner Brothers have thought, let's go for it, let's do it right. It's given the big budget. Most horror films tend to get budgets of a couple million. If you look at the Blumhouse and the way they incredibly churn out and Split, Get Out, the Insidious franchise, the Paranormal Activity franchise, they just churn out these low budget horror movies that have a large profit margin. Similar to Warner Brothers is other shared universe, The Conjuring, which has already got $1 billion in the bank, all of which aren't that expensive. I think Conjuring 1 was most expensive, 30 or 40 mil, but generally films tend to be a lot less. So they've really gone for it. They've given them the budget, and they've just said, go nuts, basically. Adapt this book into a film, but let's split it. Let's be wise. This is a huge novel, and let's do it all justice, and let's do it properly. So what they've done is they've gone away, they've done that, and reviews have been great. Rotten Tomato scores are really high. You're looking at a box office opening, some industry experts are saying somewhere between 50 to maybe even close to 100 million, which would be insane. It's going to be the highest opening weekend for a September release. It's going to be the highest grossing R-rated film of that time. Obviously, Hotel Transylvania coming out. This is also the widest opening for an R-rated film, horror film. This is also currently the previews on Thursday looking at about 13.5 million, something like. That's beating out Deadpool. It's not going to do Deadpool numbers, but that's insane numbers. So even if we had a steady drop off, you're still looking about somewhere between 7 to 80 million, which would be amazing for Warner Brothers. This will also put it right smack bang in maybe the top tier of horror film grosses. The highest being Exorcist with 200 million plus, second being Get Out with like 170, and this opening weekend will most probably be bigger than Paranormal Activity 3, which I think is the highest opening weekend so far. So this is insane. They've given the guys the budget, they've gone away, they've taken a great novel. Is it any good? Let's start with just the basic story. So this story is about the kids. The story is literally about the kids. This is character driven. This is a fantastic piece of growth, similar to like how Stand By Me was back in the day. This is just like Goonies. This has kids, but they're not annoying kids. These are 7 great kids who come together, form the Loser Club, and they're all given enough time on screen. I think 1 or 2 weren't, but it's incredible. There's that kid from Stranger Things. He's in here as well. So far, everything he's touched is gold. I mean, you've got the kids. You've got this great dynamic. And then on top of that, you've got this terrifying imagery of Pennywise. Now, Pennywise in this is incredible. He looks amazing. There's the bit where he is in the sewer and it's raining outside, so there's water dropping down, but he's not even bothered by the water. He carries on talking, he carries on kind of going through, and there's a strong, immense, terrifying presence there. And all the way through the film, that's there's going to be tons of great scare factor coming. This is done incredibly well. there's a lot of horror movie cliches that we have. There's a lot of horror movies that are the same or by numbers. You know, we've had Bye Bye Man this year. We've had that Polaroid one, which I can't remember the name. But then we've had at the start of the year, we've had two of the best horror movies in quite a while. We've had M. Night Shyamalan's Split. We've had Jordan Peele's Get Out, and now we've got Stephen King's It. This has knocked it out of the park. Warner Bros. Have gone away. They've given the budget. They've got a good director. He's understood the source material. They've split it at the right point. We've got a great character arc for all of these kids. The kids are the key to the movie. It is literally Stand By Me with a clown, but the clown is not center stage. It's such a great piece of movie. It's really difficult to explain. The kids come together, they go on the adventure together, they get terrorized, and it just seems like the adults are just oblivious to what's going on, and the adults are the ones who are kind of hindering everything, while it's the kids who are trying to work out what's going on. And it's great. Their dynamics between themselves is great. They're really well acted. And one of the great things about this, you have a lot of films where kids talk, or younger, children talk in a certain way. What I loved about here, what they nailed from the start, is these are kids, but they do F and black. They use profanity. That's what kids do. Not all the time, but they do here and there, and they've nailed that. They've actually understood kids of that age, what they would say if they were in that situation, and they've let them say those things, which is great. They put these children in terrifying situations. There's so many great moments when Pennywise comes out. The red balloon, all of this iconic stuff is so vivid and so good. And I love the way they make the glowy light on his eyes. His eyes pop all the way through the film. It's fantastic. All the way to the very end when they make that pack, and chapter 1 is complete. You've got a bookend. You've got a complete story here. From the kids, the whole club, the crew coming together. And also what's great about this film is, while it's so terrifying and there are so many moments that are really good, jump scares, it's also really heartfelt film, and it's also there's some funny bits in the film, and it's got a bit of everything. And for a horror film, that's very rare. I mean, the one horror film that always stands out is The Conjuring, for getting an R rating without having a drop of blood, gore, and no profanity, and it's just intense all the way through, and hence why the rating. And this one really pushes the rating, and it's brilliant. It's done right down to the T. This is going to be one of the most talked about kind of movies of the year, never mind horror movies. And considering Get Out came out this year, Split came out this year, It is now come out this year. 2017 for horror movies has just been incredible. Blockbuster fatigue, yes, definitely. Franchises dying, yeah, they're just rotten films. But if you have a good source material, got a good director behind it, you got a great script, and you have a chemistry between these characters, it's gonna work, and it has worked. They've knocked it out of the park. We just can't wait for chapter 2. We just hope that the adults can take it to the next level when they fight the alien It. But we have to wait and see what they do, because what the kids have done and what they've done with this story and the way they brought it to life, like a Stand By Me / horror, it's a coming of age story that's really relatable today. And kids, adults, anyone who's coming in to watch this film, this has become a highly anticipated movie, and it just shows amazing from start to finish. And it's one of those films that I'm going to go again. It was just great. I can't wait for chapter 2. Guys have knocked it out of the park. This is a very, very good film. I'll give it a strong 9 out of 10. Tell me what you think. Hit me up with your likes and comments for all things kind of movie related, game related, comic book stuff. Keep it locked down to My Guy Reviews.